Enlightenment story. A cup of tea. In today's world where knowledge and information seem to have no limits, many people take pride in what they know, considering it a measure of success and wisdom. However, in the journey of seeking deep understanding and enlightenment, sometimes what we believe to be knowledge becomes the biggest barrier preventing us from going further. This is a valuable lesson that a famous professor received in a memorable experience with a Zen master. The story begins when the professor, who spent his life researching and teaching at top universities, decided to go to a remote Zen monastery to meet a famous Zen master. With a passionate and inquisitive soul, the professor wished to learn about the transcendent wisdom that the Zen master possessed, which he believed would add to his vast store of knowledge. Upon arriving at the monastery, the professor was led into a small room where the Zen master was sitting on a simple mat. The Zen master, with his plain appearance and bright eyes full of wisdom, greeted the professor with a gentle smile. The professor, after bowing his head in the proper manner, did not hesitate to begin presenting his knowledge, from complex philosophical theories to the latest discoveries in the field of science. He believed that these would open up an interesting and profound discussion between the two. The Zen master listened, but said nothing. He just smiled and slowly picked up the teapot from the small table next to him and began pouring tea into the professor's cup. At first glance, this action did not seem unusual, but even when the teacup was full, the Zen master continued to pour. The tea spilled out, running down the table and spreading everywhere. The professor, at first only watching with surprise, but when the tea began to drip onto the ground, he could not contain his confusion. "Sir," the professor spoke up, his voice filled with wonder. "The teacup is full. You cannot pour any more." The Zen master stopped, raised his head to look at the professor with shining eyes, and said, "Like this cup of tea, your soul is also full. How can I help you if you don't empty your cup?" The Zen master's simple yet profound words woke the professor from a long dream. In that moment he realized that all this time he had been so proud of the knowledge he possessed that he had not realized that it had blocked his ability to learn new and deeper things. The Zen master's act of pouring tea, seemingly simple at first, contained a powerful message of humility and the ability to learn. Tea, in the East Asian tradition, is not just a drink but also a symbol of mindfulness, purity, and balance. When the cup is full, it cannot contain anything more, just like the human mind. When the mind is full of prejudices, preconceptions, and fixed beliefs, it has no room for new knowledge, no capacity to experience the true enlightenment. The professor, with his vast knowledge, let his mind become a full cup of tea. Years of teaching and research had created an invisible wall of complacency, making him believe that he knew enough, that he only needed a few more pieces to complete his intellectual picture. But in reality, that picture had become rigid and could not be expanded. The lesson that the Zen master imparted was not an abstract theory, but a practical experience, a vivid illustration of how true wisdom is formed. In order to learn and absorb new knowledge, people need to know how to let go, to know how to empty their minds. This does not mean giving up what has been learned, but knowing how to put it aside, to open up space for new experiences, new ideas, and new perspectives. After that experience, the professor was no longer the same person. He began to reevaluate his approach to knowledge. Instead of trying to fill the gap with more information, he focused on how to blend what he knew with the new things he learned. He understood that wisdom is not the endless accumulation of knowledge, but the ability to understand and apply what you have learned in a profound and effective way. The professor continued his journey with a more open and humble mind. He no longer considered himself an inviolable intellectual, but a lifelong learner. He began to seek lessons not only from books and intellectual discussions, but also from simple experiences in everyday life, from the people he met, and from quiet moments in his soul. The experience with the Zen master became an important milestone in the professor's life, leading him on the path of seeking enlightenment and true wisdom. He passed on this lesson to his students, emphasizing that in order to gain profound understanding, we must first let go of what we already know. We must learn to empty our minds so that we can receive new things with an open heart and soul. The lesson from the story of the cup of tea goes beyond a simple fable, but becomes a timeless philosophy of life. It reminds us that wisdom is not the endless accumulation of knowledge we have learned, but the ability to be ready to learn new things, experiences that we have never known. In the journey of life, we often get caught up in the successes, the knowledge we have, forgetting that true understanding only comes when we dare to let go of our ego, prejudices, and old things to welcome new thoughts, new experiences. Emptying the mind is not an act of giving up everything, but a preparation, a psychological state to be ready to receive, so that wisdom can freely develop without being limited by the invisible barriers of stubbornness. Only when we let go of the burdens of the past, the prejudices that have been formed, can we see the world with fresh eyes, with an open heart, and a soul ready to receive enlightenment. In that humility, we not only learn to live peacefully and freely, but also come closer to a deeper understanding of ourselves and of life. This is the path to true maturity, not only intellectually, but also spiritually. We cannot go far if we keep accepting what we know and rejecting what we do not know. True wisdom is a combination of knowing a lot and knowing how to let go, knowing how to listen and know how to learn, knowing how to experience and know how to change. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen and reflect on this story. Hopefully, through the lesson from a cup of tea, you will find precious moments to look back, to reflect on the past, and to open your heart to new things in life. Because life is constantly changing, and only when we are willing to change with it can we truly live a full and meaningful life. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting us on the path of discovering knowledge and enlightenment. Hopefully, this lesson will be a source of inspiration for you to continue to discover new things. Dare to let go of things that are no longer suitable, and always keep faith in your abilities on the journey of self-development. We constantly learn, constantly change, and that is the key to true success and happiness. Wishing you peace and happiness on the path of seeking knowledge and enlightenment. Sincerely thank you. May you all be blessed with peace and happiness, a heart filled with joy, and a life filled with loving and peaceful moments. May all the challenges in your life become stepping stones to bring you closer to true enlightenment and peace.